This program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana. Botswana is facing a dire shortage of blood, putting trauma patients undergoing various surgeries, mothers experiencing postpartum hemorrhaging, cancer patients and others at risk of meeting their demise prematurely. Not only that, but without blood for research trials and other necessary medical innovations, development of new therapies, vaccines and medications will be put on hold. The point is, blood is quite literally the currency needed to sustain life. Globally, millions of people die annually due to complications related to shortages of blood, which means millions of potential economic skill needlessly lost every year. It also means that companies experience productivity losses and high turnovers due to these circumstances. Locally, the National Blood Transfusion Services is failing to collect enough blood for patient care, which stands at around 45,000 units of blood annually. As of 2021, the blood bank had around 21,000 units, which was well below half what was needed. With campaigns such as Give Blood, Save Life being one of many to implore Botswana to donate blood, the message is proving to fall on deaf ears. Why is that so? Tonight, we engage Tumelo Ramalebang from the National Blood Transfusion Services to talk to us about this very real threat to our economic development. Tumelo Ramalebang, thank you so much for coming on First Issues and affording us your time. We are discussing the dire situation that Botswana is facing of a shortage at the National Blood Bank. So explain to us why this is happening.
Okay, thank you so much for allowing us this time. The National World Health Organization has mandated each country to collect 2% of the total population blood. So what happens is that Botswana population, we are 2 million, we should be collecting 2% of the 2 million. Generally, we haven't been able to meet the target the past few years that we've been established. You can note that last year we managed to collect 24,204 units of blood. Beginning of this year, that is from January, mid-February, we are at 3,557. There are a lot of contributing factors as to why we haven't been able to meet the demand. First of all, in regard to your question, we just been in the festive season, which generally the people do not donate blood in large numbers as people will be traveling back to their respective places, versus the high demand of blood by road accidents and other medical conditions that on a day-to-day basis they need blood availability in order to carry out the medical procedures needed. We have also noted that Botswana do not have a culture of donating blood. We do not donate blood regularly. Most of the time, people donate blood when there's a need. A relative needs blood, a friend needs blood, or somebody close to their circle needs blood. But we need to note that we need to be collecting blood every single time for the different medical conditions at the hospitals. Women need to donate blood every 4 months. That is, they donate 3 times in a year. And then males, they donate every 3 months, meaning they can donate blood 4 times in a year. We need a regular, constant blood supply because the need for blood never issues a statement. We never know when there's going to be a dire need of blood. But we know that on a daily basis, even when there are no talks in social media and different media forums, there will be need for blood every single day.
You speak of Botswana not forthcoming, right, to donate. So what innovative ways have you tried as the National Blood Transfusion Services to encourage them to come forward and donate? Because you're saying that they only donate if there's a need, as far as somebody they know wants or needs blood at a particular time. So have you tried maybe incentivizing them to, or giving them a reason to?
The World Health Organization encourages voluntary non-remunerated blood donation. That means blood donation should never be paid. But when you talk about incentivizing, in our case, we talk about donor retention. We talk about donor retention or donor appreciation. We appreciate our donors. We appreciate the effort that they make, not necessarily having to pay the act of blood donation, because we are into the non-voluntary blood donation. What are some of the things that we are doing in order to try lure people into donating blood? The first thing that we have so far intensified is information dissemination. We recently opened the Facebook page, which by now we can agree that we have moved into the social era, where mostly people use social media, unlike our traditional newspapers and so forth. So we make sure that we update the Facebook page almost every day with any information that is needed. It could be the outreaches that we are having, or any other information that needs to be communicated with people. We've also intensified on the community blood drives. Traditionally, we've been collecting blood in schools. For the past 3 years before we were hit by COVID, we were collecting about 60% of blood from the schools. But that platform that we are using collapsed. So we had to look into other panels or other blood drives that we can use. Hence why we intensified in the community blood drives, your mall campaigns, government departments, churches, and other companies that have not been hit much by the COVID. The other thing that we are doing right now, again, we intensified on the donor retention. That is how we value and appreciate our donors as they come donating blood, bearing in mind that it is voluntary and non-remunerated.
But how intentional is the National Blood Transfusion Services in partnering with maybe private entities or big events organizers to take advantage of the large numbers at those particular events to encourage those people to donate?
Blood donation is a bit complex in the sense that where we find people populated may not necessarily be your ideal place to collect blood, because of the standards and the other medical procedures that we need to follow when collecting blood, which I think we'll talk about at a later stage. So what we do in those events where we cannot collect blood, we disseminate information. We usually provide a stall where we'll be engaging with the public, teaching them about blood donation, getting their numbers that want to donate and their place of residence, and getting to send them messages when we'll be going to the outreaches towards the places that they are living near to.
I don't know if this is factual, if it's true or not. Maybe you could help us clarify this, but statistics suggest that 60% of all collected blood gets discarded, right? What does that mean, and what legitimizes blood to be of good quality or to be considered good blood?
You're taking me to the steps of donating blood. Before we can have a donor donating blood, we need to verify that the person that we are collecting blood from, or the organization that you are going to collect blood from, is of a low risk panel. That is, you do not find people who are not able to donate or who are not eligible to donate. For somebody to be able to donate, they need to be 65. They need to be 16 to 65 years. They need to be 50 kgs. They need to be healthy, not using any treatment, not having any illness, basically in good health. So those are the first things that determine whether we'll be able to go collect blood from an individual or from a group of people. Thereafter, after ascertaining ourselves that is a safe panel, we then do the health talk, or rather where we talk to people about blood donation, making sure that whoever is going to be donating blood is eligible to donate, and they're going to be of good health after they donate, because we concentrate more on the pre-care donation and the post-care donation. That is the quality of the blood that we are going to give to the eventually to the patient. Once we have done the health talk, the donor now on a one-to-one basis will now go into a counseling session where he or she will receive a medical checkup to check if they qualify health-wise for the qualities that I've been talking about. From there, that is where they will be checked hemoglobin, they will be checked BP, they will be checked other medical conditions. Hemoglobin is the one that would ascertain that if we collect blood from this particular client, this client will not thereafter be having anemia, because we need to be collecting blood from somebody of suitable HB or iron level, if I may put it that way. Once they have passed that stage, that is when they'll be donating blood. We collect 450 mils of blood per given donation. Note that females donate every 4 months, males donate every 3 months. So per given donation, we collect 450 mils. After that, blood is tested. The blood is tested for HIV, syphilis, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and the blood group, which is going to determine who's going to receive the blood at the hospitals. So generally, having talked about all these tests, this will show you the stages that we go into making sure that we collect safe blood. After all this, we have what we call the discard rate. Discard rate is the number of blood units that we are going to discard due to these infections that I talked about. At the moment, we are sitting at about 2.5% of the total blood that we collect. That is, if I'm to reference the last year donation, 24,000, we only discarded 2.5% of that. So I would think the 60% maybe doesn't apply with us here.
There are a lot of myths surrounding blood donation as one of the reasons why people are not forthcoming. Perhaps at this point you could speak to some of them and give clarity to them, demystify some of them.
When we engage with people, we get to hear reasons why people do not want to donate. So I can assume that we may assume that those are the myths, because eventually that is what scares people away from donating blood. The first one is people think when they donate blood, eventually their blood will finish in the body. But blood is a tissue. With or without our effort, it's regenerated as per the body needs. When you lose blood, you force your body to produce more blood and more blood vessels, blood products to replace that you have lost. The second one is the size of the needle. You may note that the size of the needle, we using this size because we need to collect the blood cells in the state that they are in your body so that they go benefit whoever the blood is transfused to. So if you are to use a smaller needle, it means the red blood cells are going to squeeze themselves into that needle, and by the time they reach the patient, they are deemed useless. The other myth that we have is that, I guess it's just the feeling of fearing unknown. Like people don't know what would happen when they donate. Most of the time, we base our findings on the physicals that we have seen. But as to what would really happen in terms of maybe negatives, at most it could be maybe dizziness, maybe because somebody did not eat, but it's never anything that is extreme. It's just feeling a bit lightheaded, mostly because maybe somebody would have not eaten enough, they wouldn't have had enough fluids for the day.
So in closing, let us talk to pre and post donation care. What must somebody do before and after donating?
Scientifically, we believe that an average person has about 80 liters of blood, on average 6 to 8 liters, depending on your body size. We are going to collect half of the 1 liters that you have. Your body may react in a way trying to show that you have lost a certain volume that it's not used to. So you may feel lightheaded, you may feel dizzy. That is why before you donate, we emphasize on donor care. We emphasize on what you should do after donating, no, before donating, that will make sure that you do not have any adverse results. We advise people not to go for any sporting activities, not to drink alcohol, not to smoke 30 minutes before donating blood. And then after donating blood, we emphasize on the rest. You need to give your body at least 15 minutes after donating for the body to get used to that volume that you have lost, and take refreshments that are given. By the way, these refreshments are meant to replace the volume that you have lost. We also advise people not to do any strenuous activities for that day, to improve the diet, that is to eat a healthy diet, not anything extraordinary, just your normal diet, which is healthy, to try replace or speed the body in replacing the blood that you have lost, and generally to exercise and live a healthy lifestyle so that they will be able to come back donating blood. Because at the end of the day, the need for blood never stops. You don't just, maybe since you donated January, say, well and fine, I'm done for this year. We need blood constantly on a daily basis.